What's up, A to Z Sports on a Friday, TGIF. I tell you what, I'm ready for this weekend, ready for some college basketball to get back in our lives after what feels like a long 4 days with no tournament action for the NCAA tournament. But Tennessee started Vols spring practice, and of course, there are news type things to come out of that, and not good news for the Vols as Kaidon Salter, incoming freshman, is suspended for an incident that happened on campus earlier this month. He was arrested with 3 other teammates for drug charges. We found this out yesterday that he was not named in this because he was a minor at the time of the incident. But head coach Josh Heupel got to talk about his first ever spring practice by saying the popular new quarterback is suspended from the team and there is no timetable to return. So that's always fun for Vol fans here. But Jack Gentry is in once again to wrap up this week for Zach Bingham, as Zach will be back on Monday. And Monday will be a big day for A to Z Sports, by the way. Just a little pre-weekend tease. But Zach will be back from the beach. We'll see if he's sunburned or not. And then we're going to have a great week next week. But we're going to have a great show to end this week, Jack, and we'll talk about Kaidon Salter and what to make of this suspension and really what it means for him and this Vols football team. Then 4 Vols had pro day yesterday. As you see, Titans head coach Mike Vrabel was right there in that picture that went viral yesterday with Trey Smith. We'll have a Vols Titans draft conversation. Then we'll talk quickly about spring practice. Then we'll preview a little betting action coming up for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get to good news and the good news, some local good news on the ice last night. But, Jack, welcome in. Let's have a good show today.
Let's do it. Hey, guys, it's Friday. There's a lot of reasons to be excited today. If you're a Vols fan, maybe not as many as the rest of us. But as you're trickling in, remember to share the show. You're on Facebook. You're on Periscope. Whatever you got to do, go to the corner where you can share the show and do that. So we're going to grow this conversation. It's a Vols Friday. We're going to be talking Vols. And Austin's a big guy. He's a big Vols guy. I'm going to give him some pushback today. So go ahead and let's grow this conversation and let's get started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by BetMGM. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Jack Gentry in for Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. A lot of YouTube comments and content's growing here. And make sure you follow us. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for our show, for our business, and they help out you guys. Renters Warehouse, Nashville, renterswarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. Mandu, the pulse of fitness, for one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Mandu.com. Your first workout is free. Calvin and Suttle for your brand new hardwood floors and finishings at calvinandsuttle.com. And then Wilson County Hyundai for your brand new ride. WilsonCountyHyundai.com in Lebanon. That's also Vols country. And then the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Boneandjointtn.org. So, Jack, you are not a Vol fan. You went to Ole Miss. So you and Zach are Ole Miss guys here with the A to Z team. I did go to Tennessee. And pre-show this morning, we had a trip down memory lane when I talked about the 4 Tennessee basketball players who were caught and arrested on New Year's Day driving with drugs and a stolen gun in the car. And then later on, they flipped that and beat Kansas, number 1 Kansas, and went to the Elite 8. So yesterday, Vols started their spring football practice, and Josh Heupel had to tell everybody that hot new incoming freshman quarterback Kaidon Salter suspended from the team based off an incident that happened in a dorm earlier this month, where now we know 4 football players. Apparently there was an assault involved. There were marijuana was involved, but Kaidon Salter arrested with 3 other teammates for misdemeanor drug charges. How do you feel about this news for Kaidon Salter there, Jack?
Yeah, it's not a good look. I don't think it's the sky is falling or it's the end of the world. But Austin, before I get into my take, I think I have some business to handle.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm going to tape my nose to my forehead.
That's right.
As the magic bucket calls for.
That's right. You need to do that.
So let me do this real quickly, and then we'll get going. Let's see. How do I look? Pretty good.
Fantastic.
Right. So the reason why it's not a huge deal is because even if Salter is suspended for a game or a week or whatever it may be in the regular season, which I don't think is going to happen as the tape falls off, it's not a good look. This is the number 6 rated quarterback coming out of high school. So you want this guy to kind of hit campus and do everything he can to position himself for some playing time in his freshman year, or whether that comes soft later down the line, that's fine too. But the charges, it seems like he was more of in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's got to figure this out. Look, we all get to college and make dumb decisions. I think that everyone in here who has attended college can agree with that. But it's just a learning experience for him, and unfortunately, this learning experience, he's maturing and learning on the fly in front of a rabid fan base in Knoxville. There's a lot of pressure that comes with the quarterback position in Knoxville as well. So he's going to learn how to manage that. We talked about how it was kind of like the basketball team. I think it's like a Walmart brand of that basketball team incident, because there are guns and other stuff involved.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot worse stuff involved in that traffic stop there. Yeah.
Yeah. There was some serious issues with those guys. No matter how talented they were, that was a bad decision. But Kaidon Salter's got to make good choices. He's got to see this is a bad look. He's got to know who he's representing. Josh Heupel, it's his first year on the job, and you don't want to be having these incidents with kind of the most heralded player in this recruiting class, a guy you're really looking forward to see what he has and can contribute to the Tennessee program. So for me, it's not a huge deal because, let's face it, the Vols are back. Guys are getting arrested, but nothing really major will come from this. I know that, just following the Tennessee program ever since I was really born. It's not how they handle things up there, and they shouldn't. I mean, Kaidon Salter, from not being named in the police report, from what I saw,
he was a minor at the time of what happened. Yeah,
look. It's going to take some time. He's going to have to learn, and this is a good. Need to double up on the tape job. This is a good learning experience. Not a good learning experience, but it's an opportunity to learn and grow and mature. And he's got, if he uses it as that, that's fine. But this can't happen again.
It can't. It can't happen again. And I'm surprised you're being as soft on Kaidon Salter as I didn't expect you to do this.
He's a kid. And honestly, the marijuana stuff should legalize it. I'm on that team. Stephen A. Smith says stay off the weed. So you can do both. Just do it in the privacy of your home and don't get caught.
Right. You can remove the tape from your face.
Yeah, it's not working.
It's definitely not working. Maybe, I don't know if Jack has a big, heavy nose or not, or the tape's not holding, but that's a different conversation. Yeah. So, yeah, right. So with Kaidon Salter, look, you've got John Daniel London, Salter 17. This is a teaching moment. It'll be handled internally. And then Jeff says he hopes he learns. Juan says kids with no discipline and supervision, not a good look for a quarterback who is trying to be a leader, and college kids always make stupid choices. He will learn from this. Caleb brings up the NBA is potentially no longer going to test for marijuana. Hopefully all major sports follow. Pretty stupid that marijuana hasn't been adopted legally everywhere yet, in his opinion. Now that's a different conversation, but it's something that, like, I don't smoke weed. I honestly don't care about smoking weed. But the fact is, this is a dumb thing to do for an incoming freshman quarterback who has a lot on his shoulders and a massive opportunity to have a big impact with a brand new coaching staff, a brand new offense where everybody's slate is clean. Kaidon Salter just put himself in the doghouse. And the doghouse at my house is the best house because our dogs are pampered, but the regular doghouse is not a good place to be if you're a football player on a college campus. This is so stupid. Why? Like I don't understand how people put themselves in this situation, whether you're 17, 18, 20, or however old, and you have to understand the profile you have and the weight on your shoulders because of what you are there to do. And the reality is, Kaidon Salter is at Tennessee to play football. Student athlete, get the hell out. He is there to be a football player. He is there to be a quarterback. He wants to be a leader of the team, and you couldn't even make it 2 months on campus before you get arrested for misdemeanor drug charges. Like, that's just flat out stupid. So here, let's get to our first question of the day.
Let's do it.
Kaidon Salter suspended from the Vols after the arrest incident with teammates. Is this a big deal, small deal, or no deal? A big deal, small deal, or no deal? But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get injured, and injury is always a part of life, just like, unfortunately, stupid decisions are a part of life, and sometimes stupid decisions to end up being injuries. But boneandjointtn.org, they take care of you every step of the process. They've got amazing facilities, amazing physicians, amazing staff all around. boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM, the king of sports books. Guys, I'm here to tell you that March Madness is back tomorrow. Sweet 16 action begins tomorrow. It'll be happening tomorrow and Sunday. Plenty of things to be betting on. If you're not into the college basketball realm, that's fine. Baseball's on the way. It's just a week away. You've got NBA in full swing. Trade deadline yesterday was bonkers. There'll be some opportunities to win there. I know we had a big Knicks win last night, Austin.
Yeah, that's right.
So make sure to go download the BetMGM app after the show ends. Promo code A to Z Sports, ATOZ Sports. You'll get a risk-free bet up to $600 depending on the amount you deposit. Really easy to use, really fun to use. Makes watching sports all that like just so much better. It enhances the entire experience. Go download the BetMGM app after the show.
Yeah, so here's the question we're asking right now. Is Kaidon Salter suspended from the Vols after arrest incident with teammates? Is that a big deal, small deal, or no deal? As Jack Gentry sits in for Zach Bingham. Rob says he'll be fine. And Stacy says it will mess up his future college and pro football. You know, I don't know about that, but it's a big road bump in his beginning of his college career. Let's see. Rob says small deal. Who cares? Sean says small deal. Donald says unless it's been reoccurring, then it's a small deal. Steven says big deal. Louis says no deal. Colton says small deal. Caleb says small deal. What he does from here is what matters now. Danny says small deal. He's young. I would say no deal, except he did get suspended. More comments to read as the comments just jumped. Jeff says, I say medium. You hope he learns, but he's starting his college football experience off of the rocky start. Not a good first look. Juan says he's not our responsibility. It's his parents who will have to teach him. He don't have to prove to us, only to himself. That's an interesting comment. Stacey says small deal. He should learn a lesson from this. Bobby says no deal. First offense, slap on the wrist. If it becomes a pattern, that's when it becomes a bigger deal. Sean says he's immature and putting himself before the team. Not a good look for a potential quarterback to lead the team. John says small deal quarterback-wise, much bigger deal because 2 out of the 4 suspended are linebackers, and you can't afford to lose anyone there.
That's smart. That's a good take.
G-Man says small deal. UT's a basketball school these days. Funny there. I mean, look, Brent, small deal is 17. Hopefully learns from this. So, Jack, what do you think about this? Big deal, small deal, or no deal? Kaidon Salter suspended for his drug arrest with other teammates.
Small deal. A tiny deal, in my opinion. And you know how tough I am on the Vols. This is a small deal because what are we talking about? A 17-year-old kid getting caught with weed? The only reason this is any deal at all is because he's supposed to be, the next starting quarterback at Tennessee if Harrison Bailey doesn't pan out or when he leaves. So that's the only reason it's a deal at all. I mean, we're talking about a minor who got caught with a little weed. Look, that's not a big deal to me. The problem is if this could be a bad omen, you're right, it's a bad start on Rocky Top for Salter. And the way this could kind of grow and the snowball effect turn into a big deal is if this is just the start. Now you hope it's just an experience where he's like, okay, look, I'm under a big spotlight here. Can't afford to slip up. Makes my team, makes my new coach look bad. If it could turn into a big deal if this happens again. Now, Ole Miss and Tennessee have more in common than most people would agree with. But Ole Miss kind of went through something similar to what the Vols are about to have to go through here a couple years ago. When the NCAA brought the hammer down on Ole Miss, they brought in a placeholder head coach in Matt Luke. Now, some of you will disagree, but I think Heupel's only there for, he's there to wear these
The storms
penalties
out.
Yeah, exactly. He's not a long-term solution probably, but so you want to, even when this program, whether they're bowl eligible or not, even when they're struggling, the one thing that has to improve over the next few years, while all of this outside noise is going on, is you have to build the right culture. Heupel's got to build a culture that makes kids want to come to Tennessee and play for Tennessee, where you kind of tighten things up, you button it all up, no off the field issues. We saw last year with Bryce Thompson and a couple other guys in years past. You don't want any of this going on. You want just a clear path ahead, no hurdles, no speed bumps, like 4 guys getting arrested. So it's a small deal ultimately, because at the end of the day, 17-year-old smoking weed, who cares? I'm not going to be too hard on the kid for that.
Okay.
But he's got to understand the spotlight he's dealing with, and really, I mean, Tennessee's fan base is unlike any other. I mean, that's a good thing and also a bad thing at times. He's going to have to realize that there's a lot of pressure being put on him if he doesn't already. This, at best, could turn into a wake-up call, and he's going to have to snap right into it and get ready for spring practice. He's got a lot to prove this spring.
I think it's a big deal. It's not a big deal because it's weed or whatever. Like, that's not like, I don't care about that. I really don't. And I also understand that every year college football players will get arrested for doing stupid stuff because the people in that age, college age males, do stupid stuff on a daily, weekly basis. And that included me when I was at the University of Tennessee doing some stupid stuff every weekend. But I was not a quarterback for the University of Tennessee. I did not have the responsibility of leading a football team. I didn't have the opportunity to win the starting job by taking advantage of a wide open quarterback competition in the first spring practice of a brand new head coach who has a history of developing young quarterbacks and having success with young quarterbacks who look and fit the mold and play like Kaidon Salter. It's a big deal because Kaidon Salter cost himself an opportunity to take charge, to grow into a leader, and to potentially earn himself a lot of reps on the field as a quarterback fighting for this job. We have talked a lot about the 4 quarterbacks on campus right now for this job. And again, Rob asked Austin, are you high? I'm not. Again, this has nothing to do with the drug situation of this. This is a situation of a quarterback putting himself in a stupid situation. I think it's awful. I think it's dumb by Kaidon Salter. I'm disappointed in the situation because I had high expectations and high hopes for what Kaidon Salter could be. And Joe puts this correct. He says legally, small deal. But from a potential leadership standpoint, big deal. And that I completely agree with Joe there. That if you are on that team and Kaidon Salter did this, and now Kaidon Salter comes back and from the suspension, whenever that is, and tries to come in and be a leader, how is this team going to react to that? Yeah. And you could say in different circumstances, Henry To'oTo'o, who's still in the transfer portal, he was the leader of the defense last year. If Henry To'oTo'o, who's been in the transfer portal for now over 2 months, if all of a sudden he comes back and tries to be a leader, what do his teammates feel about that? Bro, you were gone for 2 months or 3 months. We were here working. What have you been doing? And so I think for Kaidon Salter's purpose, that's the big deal of this. Again, I don't care about weed, Rob. Understand what I'm saying. I don't care about weed. I care about a quarterback making dumb decisions off the field and how it impacts his football team.
Yeah, and I think Joe was right when he said, this is more of a leadership issue than anything.
Yes.
Because it's a smidgen of weed. I saw someone say if it's not integrity weed, he's in big trouble. Good South Park reference. But the thing is here is, yeah, you're right. This was kind of a move that seems like he was kind of following along some guys that
we don't know that. We don't know that.
We don't. But
all 4 players. There were 3 early enrollee incoming freshmen and 1 redshirt freshman, Martavis French. All the other guys were brand new on the roster: Salter, Isaac Washington, and Aaron Willis, along with French. So young guys, all just a year out of high school or less. So I do think it's a big deal for Salter. I don't care about other guys because other guys are not the quarterback, and you have to treat the quarterback different. Yeah. In every way. The quarterback has to be treated differently.
And if he was a defensive back, to your point, I don't think that we're talking about this today. I guarantee you we're not talking about this today.
No.
So I mean, he's a young kid. He's got to find his identity within that team, and he's got to step up and lead by example. And none of this needs that. I think Henry To'oTo'o coming back, from a leadership standpoint, it's going to be much tougher to look at that guy and say, you know what, I'm going to follow what he says. We're going to go by his word when he's hanging you out to dry here, sitting in the transfer portal for months on end. So Salter, the weed stuff's not a big deal. From a leadership standpoint, I think Joe hit the nail on the head. That's where the concern lies for me. And anytime you bring in a new head coach, the program's going to struggle to find its identity. You don't want any of this stuff going on. You want to make Heupel's life as easy as possible because let's face it, he's going to have much bigger issues than Kaidon Salter getting arrested for weed.
Right. And there's also an assault aspect to this because it's not the fact that they just had drug possession, that they got in a fight, like something happened with a drug transaction or something along the lines at a dorm where Salter and those 3 other teammates were involved in that. So let's talk about this because, it's a big deal for Kaidon Salter. I think it's a big deal for how it impacts the Vols quarterback competition. But Jack, I do think Josh Heupel can spin this into a positive.
Yeah, now, I agree.
So let's talk about my take on this. But first, let me tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai and WilsonCountyHyundai.com. If you're looking for a new ride, head out to Lebanon. It's a beautiful drive in Lebanon. Lebanon is a beautiful place to take a drive out, to go to Wilson County Hyundai to get a brand new car, and Payne Bone will absolutely take care of you at WilsonCountyHyundai.com. They've got the best stock of Hyundai Palisades that's right there on the right of your screen. The big SUV, they got the 3rd row and all the bells and whistles. The Hyundai Palisade is sweet. All the other Hyundai models are fantastic, and the price point is great for what you are getting and for the Hyundai model there. Hyundai is where to go with WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Zach Bingham back again to tell you about BetMGM. Go ahead and download that app. Use promo code A to Z Sports, ATOZ Sports. It's the king of sports books. The in-game betting and live betting are so much fun to use and it's just so easy. It's such an easy process. Yes. It makes watching sports so much more fun. I said that the last time, but it really does. March Madness, we're all going to be betting on that. I think we're going to talk a little bit about that.
We will
later on in the show. So stay tuned for that. Maybe take whatever we say and go bet it immediately. That seems safe. So go ahead. Go ahead and download BetMGM, the app, as soon as the show ends. Let's have a lot of fun this weekend.
Yep. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older, must be present in Tennessee, and for gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So, Jack, I do think, again, from Kaidon Salter's standpoint, it's a big deal. Now you look at Josh Heupel's standpoint and how can he use this as a benefit? Because I think Josh Heupel, and I talked with Jonathan Crompton about this, former Vols quarterback, a few weeks ago when he was sitting in for Zach, talking about quarterbacks. And like, how the hell can you spread reps out in 15 spring practices to 4 quarterbacks who are all trying to prove themselves into getting actual real reps when it matters in the summer, in the fall, and in the season. And I do think this gives an opportunity for Harrison Bailey and Hendon Hooker to come in and take control. One of them take control and steal the reps that Kaidon Salter was supposed to get. That is how I think Josh Heupel can turn this into a benefit for the football team. Is you've got one less quarterback to spread reps out to, and you give Salter's reps to Bailey and Hooker, the transfer from Vatech, and Bailey, who you saw a little bit of last year. And then you see which of those two starts to take and run with it.
Oh, Austin, give me a break. Taking Salter's reps for a smidge of weed.
He's suspended, Jack. He's not on the field.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm talking about. What are you talking about?
How long is this going to last?
Indefinite. There's no timetable. But they practiced yesterday, and Salter wasn't there.
That's
fine. What the hell are you talking about?
That's fine. He's not going to be.
He's not on the field. His reps got to go somewhere. You don't just say, "Okay, hold on, Tom. This is what you just said. This is what you just said. You just said, let's say Heupel's got 50 plays in practice today, okay? All the quarterbacks get them split, or let's go 40 plays for easier math. 40 plays of offense during team drills. Every quarterback gets 10 reps. Oh, Kaidon Salter suspended? Okay, never mind. We're only going to do 30 plays. No, those reps are going to somewhere. Like they're still
fine. Well, of course they are. Of course they are. That's fine, though. This is not going to be a month-long suspension.
Yes, it might be. We don't know. We don't know.
I have a strong feeling that this will not last long. I mean, come on.
Strong feeling based on what? Based on you pulling that out of your ass?
Based on what's been reported about Kaidon Salter. It's not a big deal.
It just happened. We just learned that he was one of the guys that wasn't mentioned in the report.
So if his reps are split for a week and a half, whatever it may be, that's fine. Let those guys get an extra week and a half of 4 or 5 reps, whatever it ends up being. Who cares? It's not a big deal. Kaidon Salter's talent's enough to overcome whatever extra reps these other guys are getting. I think we all agree that this dual threat quarterback it has a chance to change the program, and not all spring reps are really a huge deal.
Yes, they are, because
for freshman quarterbacks they are. That's fine.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Because why? Hold on. Let me take
it. It is if you're coming in to start as a freshman quarterback. Those reps are weighted differently.
Yes, and that's the situation, especially when it's all the reps are important for these quarterbacks because it's a brand new coach with a brand new offense. As Clayton says, every rep matters. Absolutely. I'm talking physical reps. I'm not talking about leadership reps, as Butch Jones would bring up. But it does matter because what happened last football season, Jack? The Vols were stuck with Jarrett Garantano for so long because Harrison Bailey did not get his spring practice because of COVID, and Jeremy Pruitt was babying him, saying he wasn't ready. And the Vols suffered because of that on the field. So for Kaidon Salter, and I don't know what Harrison Bailey is. It's still a flip of the coin to whether he's going to be good or not in the SEC. Hendon Hooker, same thing. He's a transfer. Brian Maurer, I pretty much know it's not going to work out, and he's going to be a backup for his life. But the issue here is that this is a big deal because you've had 2 straight off seasons of high-ranked quarterbacks being early enrollees. Like, why do you enroll early? To get that first spring practice in and to help you for the fall. And 2 straight spring practices, one because of COVID, one because of a stupid decision and suspension, has those quarterbacks missing those practices.
Kaidon Salter is going to wind up just meeting with a counselor, whatever it may be, if he's away from the practice field, no big deal. Josh Heupel is a much different coach than Jeremy Pruitt in the sense that this guy is completely offensive oriented. Salter has a complete ally in Heupel, and Heupel is a guy who finished middle of the pack in recruiting in his conference in his time at UCF. So this guy is not going to just reel in an incredible recruit in the 6th ranked dual threat quarterback in this class and cast him away and forget about him because he misses a week, 2 weeks, a month of spring practice. Give me a break. This guy is way more. Josh Heupel's entire future at Tennessee could easily be banking on Salter's availability and ability when he's on the field.
Oh, it's all about Harrison Bailey and Kaidon Salter.
Heupel and Salter, whether you like it or not, are going to be attached at the hip because if Heupel wants a new contract, an extension at Tennessee, once all of the smoke clears, it'll be because of Kaidon Salter. And he is not going to give up on this kid because he's out for a week, 2
I'm not
weeks,
saying
whatever
he's
it is.
giving up on the kid.
So give me a break with all these.
When did I say he's going to give up on the guy?
Well, you're saying that it's so important that these other guys that are coming in who early enrolled are getting Salter's reps in spring.
Yeah. When you have a quarterback competition and one guy's not there because he did something stupid, the other quarterbacks, their opportunity just got greater because now they get more opportunity, more reps. Like I'm not saying Josh Heupel is going to write off or get rid of Kaidon Salter. No, but this does allow for Harrison Bailey or Hooker to get an advantage over Kaidon Salter. It's all about, I'm talking like on the field, in the football facility, who can separate themselves at the quarterback job, because the quarterback will be the determining factor on if Tennessee is competitive next season or not.
Okay.
And because Kaidon Salter is suspended, Kaidon Salter will not be as much of that equation as I thought prior to him getting suspended because he got arrested for doing something stupid.
Hear me out real quick.
Okay.
So say you're right about this and say the suspension, maybe there's more to it. Maybe he does lose out on a bunch of these reps and you got Hooker coming in and kind of stealing some shine. The worst case scenario is that Salter completely flops, whether it's due to mental aspects, legal stuff, whatever. Say he completely flops this spring. The worst thing that could happen to him is he gets a redshirt year and he gets a year to learn and grow in Heupel's offense. That's the worst thing that could happen to him. And that actually may be the best thing that could happen to him at the same time. So save your sky is falling. Salter's in trouble with save all this rep sharing nonsense.
What are you talking about? This isn't nonsense. This is not nonsense at all. This is actually pretty solid logic. And I've never said the sky is falling. I think it's a big deal for a quarterback to do something stupid who is expecting to be a leader of the team and is ruining an opportunity to play early. That's what I'm saying.
He's not capitalizing on the chances he's been given right now.
Bingo.
He's going to get more. He's going to get more.
Yeah.
Are you mad at me right now?
I'm a little surprised. Like I'm flustered because I was not expecting this to happen. Like I was expecting logic out of you, Jack, but I don't know.
I'm a realist, Austin. I'm a realist.
I am a realist as well. And I think we're off on different pages here. It's surprising.
If Salter can beat Georgia and Florida, he can smoke all the weed his little heart desires.
I don't care about weed. Like this is not about weed. This is about being arrested.
It's fine. I get that part, but it's not all, like I just said, not all spring reps are equal. Not all arrests are equal. It's a bad start. We can all agree it's a bad start, but this is not something to lose hair over. I'm here.
Who's losing hair?
Come on, that's a low blow off.
No, you brought it up.
No, but I'm saying, look, Salter's good enough to where this is not going to overcome anything. This is not going to, really matter in the end. When we talk about Salter's tenure at Tennessee, hopefully this isn't even mentioned. This is a learning experience.
I agree.
He's what he misses in these spring reps, I'm sure he will gain back. You can do off the field stuff, out of practice, whatever. Work with some receiving guys or some receivers, and kind of catch up in that way. Heupel will take the time, even if Salter's away from the field, to coach him up, to get him acclimated, and get him ready to play in a college football, SEC football game.
All right, so let's get to this topic because it's the second graphic right there on your screen. You see Trey Smith and Titans head coach Mike Vrabel doing something, working on hand placement or whatever it is, finding out where the steeple and the people are, as I saw that was the funniest joke on Twitter from that yesterday from F-Words Pods. But we've got a good topic here, Jack. Which of the following four Vols is the best draft fit for the Tennessee Titans? I think this is very intriguing. Which of these Vols we're going to talk about is the best draft fit for the Titans? But first, let me tell you guys about Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room at mandu.com. How is that even possible? How can you say 15 minutes equals 5+ hours? Full body electronic muscle stimulation. It's real. The results are real because the science is real. I did this workout on Wednesday, and the second day soreness is real today. I'll be back at Mandu on Sunday because I got to get swole. I got to get fit. It's spring. It's trying to get ready for the beach. So whatever fitness and exercise goals you have, Mandu can help you achieve those goals. Mandu.com. Your first workout is absolutely free.
This man is a workout demon, guys. Okay, BetMGM. You want to earn some money to where you can start paying for these Mandu visits after your first one is for free. Get on BetMGM. Let's win some money gambling. Give me a follow while you're at Jack A. Gentry self-promotion. I tweet about gambling stuff, whatever. Promo code A to Z Sports, ATOZ Sports. It's king of sports books. So fun to use, so easy to use, so quick. And once you download that app, you click on it, you remember the password, you get in, you find you a game. They have an incredible selection, a selection that is second to none when you talk about sports books across the country. BetMGM is how you're going to win some money this March, and do it after the show. Download BetMGM right after the show ends. Let's all make some money this weekend. What do you say?
I like it. So let's talk about this. There are 4 Vols that participated in Pro Day yesterday. So which of these 4 Vols is the best draft fit for the Titans? You've got offensive lineman Trey Smith, wide receiver Josh Palmer, DB Bryce Thompson, and offensive lineman Brandon Kennedy, who is a 6th-year center for the Vols this past year. So let's read some comments because I'm very interested in that. Clayton says, would love to have Trey Smith on the Titans. Brent says, by far Trey Smith because he's the only one that's really good. Jeff Rubel, good comment from Big Ten Jeff's draft fit depends on where they're drafted. Absolutely. Steven says, Trey Smith needs to improve the O-line. Also, Trey Smith says he wants to be with the Titans. Dom says Trey Smith. It's not even close. I don't know how pressing the need is for a tackle, but Smith is the best player. And Trey Smith played the majority and the best football of his college career as a left guard. So he's not necessarily a tackle, but he is a guard. Nurse117 says Trey Smith. Ethan Smith by a mile. Juan says Trey for sure, then Palmer. Clayton says could see Palmer to Thompson late. Caleb says Trey Smith, super versatile, gives immediate depth and can be a potential starter. Let's see. Smith could play right tackle. Smith, Trey, and Palmer both had solid pro days. A lot of Trey Smiths here, Jack.
That's the easy answer, Austin.
It is the easy answer. Is it the right answer?
Trey Smith's the best player from Tennessee that's going to be in this draft. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. Right. But is he the best fit? I have my questions because you're right. He did play his best football as an interior O-lineman. The Titans are pretty set at those positions. They've got Roger Saffold and Nate Davis, who came on last year, had an incredible second season in the NFL. So I think they're fairly set at guard. And here's where I was going to go with this too, because Ben Jones is going into the last year of his deal. Trey Smith has never played center. And so I don't think that's the right thing. And Bobby brings up, what about replacing Saffold? And Brandon says the same thing because Roger Saffold's going into he's making bank.
And he is about to go into the 3rd year of his 4-year deal. And I can look it up real quick while you continue talking about how the Titans can get out of that.
That's deal. Fine. So when you draft a guy as early as Trey Smith, whether it be in the 2nd or 3rd round, whatever it may be, when you're in a position to win a Super Bowl, you want guys that can come in and impact the team now. Like you mentioned with Saffold's deal, you may have to wait a year for Smith. I don't know if Robinson has that time to wait around for him and then throw him into the fire next season. That's a risky business. So Trey Smith is without a doubt the best player. You saw Vrabel spending time with him yesterday at Pro Day. I just don't think he's the best fit for the Titans. Fit-wise, I think it's Bryce Thompson. Bryce Thompson has played all over the place in the secondary, has been the best guy, has been the best player in the back end of that Vols defense for 2-3 years now. So he's a guy who can come in, and we talked about this yesterday. Who do the Titans have to go through to make to get to a Super Bowl? The Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills. Each team with a track lineup, a 4x100 track team at wide receiver. So you need all the DBs you can get. And I think there's value in Bryce Thompson in the 5th. I think there's a chance the Titans have signed Kevin Johnson, but let's face it, he hasn't panned out so far, and he may not even be on the 53-man once the season begins. So I think rolling the dice on a young guy like Bryce Thompson later in the draft, I think that's where the most value can be found. So I'm going Bryce Thompson.
All right, so Brandon asks, what is Smith's projected round? And I Will has a good comment. Says the Titans cannot grab an inside offensive lineman in
He's
the
right.
first 85 picks. Win now mode, as Jack says. So, and that's the thing with Trey Smith is he is a ceiling second round pick. I think a floor third round pick. Now, the Titans have 2 third round picks, 85 and 100. If Trey Smith is available at 85 and the Titans draft him, I'm not going to be like upset at it. I think that's good value.
That's the best player on the board.
It is a best player available type of selection. But I think the Titans, Ben Jones is not going to be replaced by Trey Smith because Trey Smith's never played center. Roger Saffold, I understand the thought of replacing Roger Saffold in a year with Trey Smith. But again, I think pick 85 is going to be a guy who can go in and play right now, like you're saying there, Jack. And Trey Smith will not – best case scenario, if Trey Smith's drafted by the Titans, he doesn't play a single snap outside a jumbo offensive line.
Yeah, that's concerning for the Titans team, who not only had a fine offensive line last year that paved the way for Derrick Henry's 2,000-yard season. It's just Robinson, after last year's draft class, can't afford to gamble anymore. He's got to hit his layups. There's no deep threes being shot by John Robinson in this draft, and I think you're going to see that once in 5 weeks when the draft rolls around.
Yeah, last thing on the offensive line before I move on to the others and where I think the best fit is for a former Vol. Aaron Brewer is a guy they like a lot, who they got undrafted out of Baylor to play the inside swing guy, whether he can play center or guard. So I think they like Aaron Brewer, so I don't think they're going to spend that type of draft capital for Trey Smith. You say Bryce Thompson. I like Bryce Thompson. He's as aggressive as you can possibly be.
Fearless.
At defensive back. Fearless is a great way to describe him as well. He's played safety. He's played outside. He's played nickel corner. He's got run support, tackling ability. I don't know how fast he is at top end, because that is a big deal for the Titans as they want to become faster vertically at corner. So that's something that we don't necessarily know how fast Bryce Thompson is. I think he's pretty speedy. I think he was really good. He was by far the Vols' probably the Vols' second best defender last year behind Henry To'oTo'o, and at times the best over Henry T. And Bryce Thompson played last year with a torn pec, like incredible as a DB. Like I don't like you use like your arms are extended, and like I'm sore from Mandu. Yes, like and so like doing this makes my pec sore. So I don't know how you do that as a DB, but Bryce Thompson is a guy I think I would like on my team. Clayton says he ran a 4.44, which sign me up. I'll take anything sub 4.5 from a DB. Good stuff. So I think, however, the best fit for one of these former Vols for the Titans is Josh Palmer, wide receiver, late round. And I think the Titans need to draft a wide receiver early, whether it's first or second. We've talked about that some this week, Jack. But I think Josh Palmer is a really good pick in the 5th round, 6th round. He's a polished receiver. He knows how to run crisp routes. He catches with his hands away from his body. He's got a big, strong body. He knows how to block. His routes, he runs NFL-style routes. He's not one of these college wide receivers that just runs spread offense and movement routes. No, he has great breaks. He's clean. I said this 2 years ago on Twitter, and I got a lot of blowback. When the Vols had Marquez Callaway, Juwan Jennings, and Josh Palmer, I said that Josh Palmer is the best pure wide receiver the Vols have. And I still stand by that. Josh Palmer plays the wide receiver position the cleanest out of all 3 of those guys, Callaway and Jennings. And Callaway was undrafted. Juwan Jennings was a late 7th round draft pick. I think Josh Palmer will be drafted higher. And so I think I'll be proven right by that. I think Josh Palmer lost a lot of money because of the quarterback play at Tennessee. I think if he had an average quarterback, Josh Palmer would be a lot have a higher ranking in this draft. I think Josh Palmer in the 5th round makes a lot of sense. Ethan asks, is he more athletic than Juwan Jennings? Yeah, absolutely. Juwan Jennings isn't that athletic. Like, Juwan Jennings isn't fast. He's not like explosive. He just cares more than other people.
He's a dog.
Yeah, exactly. He's just gonna out dog you, which is a good thing.
So let's break this down real quick because we're both talking about later on day 3 guys. So which of these players, I guess, Josh Palmer or Bryce Thompson, has a better chance of making the Titans 53-man roster? It's going to be tough because they're going to be late round draft picks. Not all of those even make the practice squad. So you look at the wide receiving group. You have A.J. Brown. You have whoever you're going to take at 22. I hope they go wide receiver at 22. If they don't, I'm going to be upset. But you're going to have whoever they draft, Josh Reynolds, and you have Nick Westbrook-Akine, your favorite Titan. So those are your 4 guys, and they brought back Mason Kinsey on a futures deal. So he's with the team right now.
I don't care about Mason Kinsey.
But in the secondary, that room has been emptied out. You got rid of Adoree Jackson. You got rid of Malcolm Butler. You got rid of Desmond King. You've brought in Jackrabbit Jenkins. You have Christian Fulton. And you may make another play. You got Kevin Johnson as well. You may make another play in the draft, which they should as well. So that room, there's more. I think there's just more room in when we're talking about cornerbacks on the Titans roster than there are for wide receivers. That's why, and like we said earlier, you're looking for a guy who can come in and make a difference, whether it's special teams, whether it's actually, locking somebody up out there. I think Bryce Thompson is your easy answer. Josh Palmer, he's going to struggle to crack the 53-man. Just that room's a little crowded, and Vrabel has his guys.
I don't know, man.
I think that if you're talking about a player who's more likely to make an active roster, it's got to be Bryce Thompson.
Oh, I absolutely think Bryce Thompson has a great opportunity because of the special teams aspect, because Bryce Thompson's a good tackler. Josh Palmer didn't spend 4 years in college tackling like DBs do that. He spent catching the football, right? So I do find it interesting to bring that up. But when you look at the wide receivers, man, they are so thin. Like, I'd take Josh Palmer over Mason Kinsey all day.
Yeah, likely. We're talking about an undrafted free agent. Palmer is projected to go in day 3. So you would think
both these guys are day 3 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think that, just draft value. Not all draft classes are built the same. That Palmer has more to offer than Mason Kinsey does. But
so let's just look at it. Let's look positionally.
Drew Bennett was an undrafted free agent.
It happens. Yeah, but again, Drew Bennett's an outlier. You've also got plenty of awful undrafted free agents that just don't do anything.
Yeah.
So wide receivers, typically teams keep 5. Corners, you keep 5, sometimes maybe 6 because of special teams. Let's just go through what the Titans have at corner. We got Fulton here to talk about, Jackrabbit, Kevin Johnson, Breon Borders, I think, and Kareem Orr. Like, those are the top 5 corners, right? I think you're trying to find a guy who, and you're going to draft somebody that's going to be ahead of Kareem Orr and Breon Borders. You freaking hope.
And then too hard to do.
Yeah, and then you look at the wide receivers: A.J. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Nick Westbrook-Akine, and Mason Kinsey, and who else? Marcus Johnson and Cam Batson. Like, you're going to draft somebody who's going to be better than Josh Reynolds or equal to Josh Reynolds. I love the idea of Josh Palmer coming in and training camp and proving that he can play wide receiver in the NFL. For him, it's all about what value can Josh Palmer give you on special teams, because that 5th wide receiver better be able to play special teams. That's the only reason why your boy NWI made the team last year.
Yeah, that's right. Like, when you're drafted in day 3, you got to fight, you got to scratch, you got to claw to crack that roster. So I see where you're coming from. And I'm not going to vehemently disagree with you, because I think that adding 2 wide receivers in the draft is a fine idea. You get multiple darts to throw and see which guy's going to come out and, take over that wide receiver 4 position that's kind of open right now on the Titans, although there is a heavy favorite, and we're talking about my guy NWI. But so I just like the idea of Bryce Thompson more than I do Josh Palmer. I think that Bryce Thompson has proven more. When we talk about, how did these guys fare in college? Well, they both played well. Josh Palmer, his athleticism and his route running abilities are smooth. Bryce Thompson, though, he was out there in the trenches for 3 years leading the Vols secondary.
No,
so
for sure.
I think when you pull a guy off an SEC roster who is the best player in the secondary, that's worth a roll of the dice 5th-round draft pick on.
Oh, I think they're both 5th-round guys at the highest. I doubt they go higher than the 5th round, but I do think the Titans can find a guy who can go in there and compete and could make the team. Look, you're hoping 5th-round draft picks make the team. And John Robinson's been really good in the 5th round.
Big Merch.
Laurel Murchison's the one 5th-round pick that we know the least about from John Robinson, but Tajay was a good 5th-round draft pick. Jayon Brown was a good 5th-round draft pick.
Great 5th-round draft pick, yeah.
LaShawn Sims was a pretty decent 5th-round draft pick, played out his rookie contract, which is kind of all you're asking for.
Yeah.
So 5th-round draft picks have been very kind to John Robinson as Titans GM. DJ Bacon Bits just says Trey Smith to learn under Saffold. I love it. Like, that's just a luxury pick, though. If you're going to draft Trey Smith, it's a long-term view when you have short-term needs that wouldn't be met.
They're not in the position where they can draft a guy that early and just have him sit and learn. You draft a guy right now. See, I get it if you're coming off a Super Bowl win. If you're the Bucks and you really like a guy to come in and fill in after a veteran's going to move on the next year, that's fine. They're allowed to do that because they have enough talent. They've just won a Super Bowl. They like their roster, so they can afford to sit and wait. Titans can't do that. John Robinson can't do that. They've got to find guys after the huge whiffs in last offseason in free agency and the draft. They have to find guys who can come in now and not only win another division title, but get back to that AFC Championship game. Maybe make a run at the Super Bowl. They have to have, because you're not going to have Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill, all of these guys for that much longer. I mean, Derrick Henry, look, we talk about the shelf life for running backs. That's not long. And when you have a guy who gets used as much as Derrick Henry, there's a chance that he may not, be around for that long. Talking 10 years, even 8 years is a stretch for a bunch of running backs. So you got to capitalize when you have so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. You got to capitalize and really help build a Super Bowl winning team this year because the Titans aren't looking in the future.
No,
the window is open now. They've got to jump through it.
Yeah, Brent says, I know Trey Smith is more of a guard, but could he play right tackle for a year? That's setting yourself up to fail. That's setting a player up to fail. That's backwards. Usually you can draft a tackle who might play guard for a year and then kick out the tackle. Tackles, you have less help as a tackle. So it's more difficult to play that early on at a high level. And if you're a guard, putting a guard out at tackle is a risky play in the NFL if you want to do that. All right, Jack, let's quickly transition to the Sweet 16. Jack, I want to know, and all of you guys, I want to know what your favorite bet is for the Sweet 16 coming up over the weekend. But first, let me tell all you guys, we'll be watching a lot of hardwood. You can get new hardwood floors in your home by going to calvinandsuttle.com. Calvin and Suttle in this mid-state area, it's a perfect place for you to go to upgrade your home, upgrade the equity of your home, the value by going to calvinandsuttle.com and getting your new flooring from them. They do a fantastic job. Their customer service is top-notch. They are efficient. They are quick with their work. They're not going to linger in your home getting you new hardwood floors. It just takes a month long. No, that's an awful process. And Calvin and Suttle does a great job of getting in, giving you a quote, doing the job, and getting out so you can live your life at calvinandsuttle.com.
Oops. BetMGM. There it is. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Promo code A to Z Sports, ATOZ Sports. You'll get a risk-free bet up to $600 upon your first deposit. So go ahead and do that. Make an account. It's free money they're giving you. This is a risk-free bet. You're just rolling the dice. You could blindly pick whatever game you want to bet on to have an extra interest in. Maybe tonight's NBA schedule isn't interesting to you. Well, you throw a few $100s on that game from your risk-free $600 bet, it becomes very interesting to you. Yes. So let's have fun this weekend. Let's win some money. All we got to do is sit there on our couches and watch our money win, watch our teams win, and let the money trickle in. So go ahead, download the BetMGM app today as soon as the show ends.
Kyle says, what about that Sweet 16 11 years ago to beat Ohio State to go to the first Elite Eight in school history? Kyle, Jack and I were literally talking about that before the show. That was one of the best times in my college life. was following that college basketball team, that 2010 Vols team with Skylar McBee hitting threes, Scotty Hobson, Melvin Goins. You have a lot
Brian
of Brian Williams. Who else?
Tyler
JP
Smith.
Prince, Wayne Chisholm, Tyler Smith get kicked off the team because of that arrest. Melvin Goins ended up coming back. Oh, my guy Bobby Mays. Bobby Mays
was the coolest.
Was the point guard that made it all happen. Just throwing half-court alley-oops to JP Prince all day long was a lot of fun. So, Jack, what is your favorite bet for college basketball this weekend in the Sweet 16? I'm looking at the slate for tomorrow. There's one that really sticks out to me.
Bobby Mays. Talk about a Dollar General Allen Iverson. That's who you're looking at.
I have a great Bobby Mays story. I will tell you that after we talk about our bets here.
Okay.
It has to do with Bobby Mays' recruitment to Tennessee.
For me, I'm looking to Sunday night. I know we got to wait a couple days to get there, but I think that this is as sure of a thing as there is on the board right now in Sweet 16. When all bets are off in March Madness, this is the game I look at, and I feel like I have a pretty good read on. Alabama -6.5. They're playing UCLA. They're playing some of the best ball of the season right now. They just dismantled Maryland. Iona gave them a scare, but they ended up winning and covering. Alabama is a cover machine right now. I struggle to believe that this UCLA team, who's played an extra game in this tournament, they had to play a play-in game against Michigan State just to make it to the round of 64. I think that they're out of gas, and I think that they've overstayed their welcome. They're on borrowed time. Alabama with guys like, Quinterly. Talk about a player. Quinterly, Herb Jones, and down low. UCLA, I don't think has really an answer for Herb Jones. And I think that's a big why Alabama's going to not only win, but cover the number at 6.5. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. UCLA, they can't keep up. They've got Tiger Campbell, who actually lived in Nashville, went to, I believe he was at CPA before he transferred to go to a day school out west. But this Alabama team's hot as ever. So give me the Tide -6.5.
I will like Oregon over USC.
I need that for my bracket is what I need.
Oregon's +2. So if you're going to take Oregon, do you might as well take the money line? The money line's only +115 for Oregon over USC, and Corey confirms your CPA. So what do you do here? If you like Oregon +2 is at -110, but Oregon money line's +115. What's the smartest bet there to go there?
When you're talking about such a short number in the 2 points, you can get more value out of the money line there. But
that's what I'm thinking.
The only way that Oregon, I guess you go money line there, but
because it's not 2.5. If it was 2.5, I get maybe +2.5. Because
in March though, I'm a guy who needs every last point because these games are coming down to the last possession. So that 2 sounds nice to me, and just the amount of, I would beat the hell out of myself if Oregon, ended up losing by 1 point when they would have covered the spread, and you went money line. So that's another thing. Maybe it's just from PTSD, lost bets that I have in the past. But this is a matchup that USC won in the regular season. Oregon's playing really good. They've got Duarte. They've got Eugene from Eugene out there playing as well. They're a good team. USC's got a big man in Mobley who's going to go in the lottery. It's going to be an awesome matchup in the Conference of Champions. I know Bill Walton will be watching.
Yeah, I'm sure. So my favorite bet, I think, for Saturday, Jack, Syracuse +7.
Okay, yeah.
Against Houston.
Houston's a low-scoring team, and Buddy Boeheim's averaging 27 this tournament.
And you know what Houston's also is? A disorganized team.
Mm-hmm. It's very chaotic and fast.
Houston wins off of their pure athletic ability, and what disrupts that? Boeheim's zone. So I think Syracuse +7 is a fantastic pick, and +240 on the money line for Syracuse. We've already seen Jim Boeheim take a double-digit Syracuse team to the Final Four. Could he do it again as an 11 seed? I don't know, man. But I think Syracuse +7 is an amazing value to go get. So that's my favorite bet. I also love Alabama. I'm thinking, you know how I love my parlays, Jack.
I know you're a parlay man.
I'm a big parlay guy because BetMGM just keeps giving me these parlay boosts, so I got to use them. They can't just sit there and stare at me. But you could go Alabama, Gonzaga, and maybe Arkansas and Baylor on a parlay, and a 4-leg parlay over Saturday and Sunday. And you know what? For the hell of it, let's just see what that does.
While you're adding that up, this Oregon State Loyola matchup is interesting for me just because that's where Tennessee could be right now. Loyola's they're 7-point favorites, which is a big number this late in the tournament, especially for an 8 seed. Granted, they were going up against the 12 Oregon State. The matchup down low between Krutwig and Silva is one that interests me. I think that game could be a little tighter than what Vegas is indicating with the spread there.
Yeah, so here's what I did. So I went and I wanted to check this out because I wanted to see what this money line parlay would do. So all money line parlays, Arkansas, Baylor, Gonzaga, and Alabama, boosted because BetMGM is giving everybody a parlay boost. So download the app, ATOZ Sports, and you get 2 parlay boosts every day from BetMGM right now. So that's why awesome. I'm doing this.
That is awesome.
Yeah, but that parlay is boosted is plus 148. So it's not huge whatsoever, but
plus money.
It's plus money. Arkansas, Baylor, Gonzaga, Alabama to all win. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that out so I don't accidentally take it when I'm not ready to do that. So I do think that's very interesting.
Arkansas is going to throw Cinderella Oral Roberts straight out the door this weekend. They're going to get boat raced. Talk about a team who's on borrowed time. 15 seed, though. Great for them. What a great story that was. And I know a lot of Vols fans are watching and happy that Florida went down at the hands of Oral Roberts. So, it's a bit of karma for what happened in the SEC tournament between the Vols and the Gators. But both teams are on to next season.
And I love alternate spreads, too, with parlays. So you could take Gonzaga, who's minus 1,100 on the money line, but they're 13-point favorites, and work that number down to improve your odds there. I did that successfully on Monday when Gonzaga covered minus 7 against who'd they play?
Gonzaga played. Who did they play?
Who'd they beat? Oh, Oklahoma. Oklahoma played tough too. That game was that game was very tough and a little stressful there towards the end. All right, Jack, I teased this before we get to Ain't That Good News. I have to tell people the Bobby Mays recruiting story. This was in the late 2000s. I don't remember what specific year Bobby Mays came out of junior college and joined Tennessee's basketball team. But Bruce Pearl, I was told this story by one of Bobby Mays' teammates right after I graduated college. And so Bobby Mays, who was from Washington, D.C. area, grew up with Kevin Durant, actually, was playing JUCO ball in the middle of nowhere. So he's visiting Kentucky. He's visiting some other big names, and he comes to visit Tennessee in the summer. And he shows up at the Woodlands pool is where he is told to go. His host takes him to the Woodlands, which was a townhome neighborhood off campus at Tennessee. And so his host takes him to the Woodlands pool, and all of a sudden, he's telling his cousin about this later on. He's saying, I show up to the Woodlands pool, and there are people everywhere. There's girls, there's beer. Coach Pearl's in the pool riding he said Bruce Pearl was shirtless, obviously in the pool, drinking out of a keg that was also floating in the pool. He says it was the most badass party he's ever seen. And he goes, that won him over. And then he calls and he commits to Tennessee, and the person who's trying to set up his room and board and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, Bobby, where would you like to live? He goes, where would I like to live? I want to live at the mother effing Woodlands. I want to go to the Woodlands. Set me up at the Woodlands. And so he calls his cousin and says, bro, you're going to come down here, come out to the Woodlands pool, and you got to come and party with me because this place is crazy. And his cousin comes in town. He gets moved into the Woodlands. They go out to the pool, and nobody is at the pool. Nobody's at the pool. Nobody's doing anything. That entire pool party was set up by Bruce Pearl and the recruiting people to get Bobby Mays to commit to Tennessee.
Hey, man, Bruce Pearl knows how to throw a good party. Ask Aaron Kraft, and also maybe ask the NCAA.
Yes, yeah.
You got to take the good with the bad with old greasy Bruce Pearl.
So that was my Bobby Mays recruiting story of Bruce Pearl throwing a pullback.
That's great.
To get him to show up.
That's
and Bruce is doing keg stands and floating on a keg in the pool. So anyway, with that, let's get to Ain't That Good News.
When's the last time you think Rick Barnes did a keg stand? I think the closest he gets to alcohol is probably Sunday at church sipping on the wine.
I don't
know him as a keg guy.
I don't think Rick Barnes has ever done a keg stand. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think I'm going to say 0 keg stands.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Because Rick Barnes is 66. He's 67 years old, right? So when was he in keg stand?
Behind him.
I haven't done a keg stand in probably 10 years, and I'm 31 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
time flies when you're doing keg stands.
I don't know. Time goes really slow when you're doing keg stands. You think you're up there for forever, and you get down, you're like, oh, how long was that? And they're like 12 seconds, and like, damn it. All right, let's get to Ain't That Good News before we send you guys to the weekend. But first, let me tell you about renterswarehouse.com. Renters Warehouse, they are the professional landlords in the Nashville area. Renterswarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. There's so many different ways you can use Renters Warehouse to your benefit. So check them out right there. Create extra cash flows for you and your family. If you're currently renting, find a new home to rent. Whether you're upsizing or downsizing, Renters Warehouse got you covered. Renterswarehouse.com.
We just talked about this tournament. We like Alabama. And we like Syracuse. So what are you going to do? You're going to download the BetMGM app with promo code A to Z Sports, ATOZ Sports. And if you don't trust us, use some of that risk-free money back when you bet on these games. Up to $600 when you make your initial deposit. Guys, they've got innovative parlays, boosted odds specials. Like Austin said, the boosted parlays, 2 a week.
Two a day. Two a day.
Hey, can you believe that? What an incredible deal. Game props and more. BetMGM is where you should go to bet the tournament. That's where I'm going to go this weekend, and I hope to come out on the green side, not the red side.
That's right. So what's your good news? Good news, we do this every Friday to end our week. Donald says good news. His niece Danny got accepted to kindergarten. I didn't know you have to get accepted to kindergarten.
Wow. That must be a tough kindergarten to get into.
I know, for real. I mean, you're a private school guy, Jack. When did you start private school?
7th grade.
So, okay. Why was that?
I went to, I'll give a shout out. Poplar Grove. I went to Poplar Grove in Franklin, up until then. And then we moved to where my dad could be closer to work. So they were just like, you know what? Let's do BGA thing. It's a little bit of a behavior. It was getting a little hairy, Like,
For you?
I'm a wild child, man. You can't cage me up. Don't cage me up. They'll put me in a box. So they threw me into BGA, which actually ended up being kind of like a caged box.
All right, so what's your good news? Let's see. Jeff Rubel says his good news is from Monday. His high school alma mater won the school's first state title in basketball, 43-42. Well worth the nice. $10 he spent to watch. That's awesome. That's badass. I've been to high school basketball state tournaments are so fun to go to. So much fun because it gets intense when those games are close. Let's see. Aaron says, my good news is his birthday's in 3 days. In Austin, I want you to wear purple on Monday. What does me wearing purple on Monday have to do with anything?
It's his birthday wish. You have to grant it. Break out the Elton John again.
Why purple? I don't dislike
purple's
purple.
in. Purple's in. I don't understand the purple thing, honestly. But hey, you know what, Aaron Goff? If you want purple, Austin should give you purple.
Do I have a purple shirt? I got a purple button down. No, I have a purple golf shirt.
He just wants you in purple, man.
I don't
do it for Aaron.
I think I have a purple golf shirt unless I gave it away, unless I donated it because I donated a lot of clothes over the week.
Ooh, Austin, here's a good one. Zach Goodman finally got over his allergies this week. It's allergy season.
For this week. Now, next week, Zach Goodman, they're going to smack you in the face again.
Danny Whitson, wife found a new car she loves. Ain't that good news?
There you go.
I hope it didn't get drilled by the hail yesterday. That would be a bad time for a new car. My dad actually just got his first new car in like 10, 15 years. Hailstorm. Now,
damage?
I don't know. I'll go out there later today and figure it out. But so my good news today.
Yeah.
We're talking about hail. It's on the ice. The Nashville Predators are playing some good hockey right now. just dismantled the Red Wings 7-1. Rocco Grimaldi, a first period hat trick. Are you kidding me? What is happening in Bridgestone right now? So the Preds, while this season looked pretty dark and not a lot of hope was what were surrounding the boys in gold. They said 4 teams out of the Central Division are going to make the playoffs. Right now, the Blackhawks hold down that 4th spot with 37 points in 34 games. The Predators are just 4 points behind them in the same amount of games played. They have 33 points. Ellie Tolvanen, the 21-year-old, is an absolute sniper. I'll be honest, I think there was a lot of pressure on him coming up, playing for Stanley Cup contending teams and getting thrown into the playoffs and really not producing. That could have damaged his confidence, but he's coming up. Now you're playing on a team that has nothing to lose, that isn't expected to make a run. Ellie Tolvanen is shelving pucks. This guy's putting them exactly where he wants. He can pick out a spot in the net, point at it. That's where the puck's going to be. This guy's a monster. He's going to be here for some time now. And while there's a lot of doubt and uncertainty with the NHL trade deadline approaching, you can at least be confident that Ellie Tolvanen's here to stay.
Yeah, so talking about that hailstorm, because I saw Nashville weather was like, Preds fans, go to the game early if you're there. Rob brings up Emily Proud's video. She lives in like the Gulch area. She posted a video of it hitting her building, which was nuts. So for me, I was at home. I was like, I'm going to go check the mailbox real quick because I was expecting something before the storm gets here. So let's go do that. The sky's not dark yet. So I go out, I walk out to the mailbox. My mailbox is maybe 50 feet from my front door. So I get to the mailbox, I look around the sky, it's all clear, check the mailbox, grab the mail, close the mailbox, rain starts. And so I start walking quickly, but I was soaked because rain, it went from 0 rain to all rain in the time it took me to sprint back 50 feet to my front door. And I was just drenched. And I was like, oh my God, this thing is so fast. It was incredibly fast yesterday.
That video, I think it was Emily Proud's video of just the wall of rain entering and dismantling Nashville. It is incredible.
She had a good one. There was a bunch of really good videos.
I'm just glad none of that mess was, like they were talking about. I was worried about tornadoes here in the mid-state. Now I'm not sure about the smaller towns on the outskirts, but I'm glad that Nashville dodged a bullet. This city's been through too much in the last couple of years. So glad they dodged this one. Although tornado season's a long season, so
Ethan Ramsey brings it up. Ethan, who lives in I think around Birmingham area, says good news. Everyone in my town is okay after the tornado touchdown there yesterday.
Good.
So that's
good.
That is fantastic. My good news is 100% selfish. I've had a cold week, Jack. You know this. I've been talking about this. I've been ice cold when it comes to winning my miniature parlays. And just overall bets. Like I've lost single bets too, like that I thought were locks. I thought they were great and I've lost them. But I finally hit a parlay last night. I had missed since Monday was my last win. I went all the way to Thursday night and I got lucky. I was texting with you about my parlay and I picked the Knicks. I picked the Penguins and the Sixers to beat the Lakers. And I passed out on the couch out of frustration last night because the Knicks were down double digits in the third quarter. And I wake up to let the dogs out, and Jack texts me, and the Knicks come back and win in dramatic fashion. And then I went to bed so fast that I didn't even see until this morning that the parlay hit because the Sixers took care of business against the Lakers with no Braun and no Anthony Davis. So
that's a team to fade here for the next couple of weeks till AD gets back. The Lakers are going to be in trouble.
They've lost 4 in a row.
No moves at the deadline. They're going to be in trouble. I'm a big LeBron guy, so that's my team. I know Bingham's a big LeBron guy too, so fingers crossed for the Lakers. Although the Grizzlies are playing some good basketball too. It's going to be a fun little shakedown here as the season comes to a close on the hardwood.
And by the way, A to Z Sports Picks coming up today at 2 o'clock. I meant to say this earlier throughout the show, but Alan Bell and Brian Edwards, they will get you guys set up for the gambling weekend. They will have a parlay to take tonight for their Friday parlay. They will have Sweet 16 picks for you guys and really help you walk through how to come out of this weekend on top with your sports betting. And don't forget BetMGM, the king of sports books. Use our code ATOZ Sports right there in the center of the screen. They're our title sponsor. So, Jack, good stuff. 2 days in a row. Zach will be back on Monday. Hope you guys have a safe weekend. I know the weather's supposed to be kind of nasty again tomorrow, but hope you guys have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you guys here a little later on. Thanks.